is a more serious note, and the other one is a bit of a quiz.
Oh. I have not studied for this quiz.
Which one do you want first, the quiz or the other question?
I don't know. I feel a lot of pressure with quizzes. If I don't get A, I'm gonna cry.
Okay, so you want the other question first?
Yes.
Has Smith tried to bribe you? Because they haven't tried to bribe me. As Dutch residents and a Dutch org, I'm kind of upset that they haven't sent me a bribe yet.
To be fair, they haven't tried to bribe me. They can hand me some stroopwafel at any time, any given moment. But they haven't tried to bribe me, and I feel very upset about that, to be honest. I feel like that's Kipsate laying the team down a little bit, if I'm honest.
Yeah, come on, Twan. Get us the stroopwafels here right now.
Stroopwafels and a little jersey. Thank you very much.
The other question
Not that we can be bought, of course.
The other question is also having to do with Myth. One of these players has played in Benelux back when it was a league. Yes. Which of these players was it, and what season was it?
I think there's two players have, because I think Turco played during Jay Ling's. No, it wasn't Jay Ling's. Yes, it was Jay Ling's. They played in Benelux.
Yeah, that's true. Then two players actually did, yeah.
Yeah. So there was that, and then Eliza maybe? I can't remember. Because I know Turco was definitely in Benelux. Akari!
Yeah, he was in Demise in season 1.
I remember.
He was a
substitute.
substitute.
I knew it was one of the Scandies.
And he played that team played the grand finals and lost against Trust Gaming. So. But
did Akari play the grand finals though?
No, I don't think he did.
Because this is the issue that I say all the time. Akari has never made LAN. Akari might not even be a person. I say this. He's 3 raccoons in a trench coat, and I refuse to believe otherwise until I actually see him at a LAN. So I will die on that hand. Speaking of dying, already a pick's been gained by Myth.
Already?
Up close and personal. And they haven't been able to trade it, so this is a really good starting point for Myth.
Yeah, for sure. And, trade finally coming in, though. Took a little bit longer, but, the first minutes passed in the meantime. The bait being called out, nitro cells being blown up, not really anything being found on the back of it. This is one of those rounds, just starting off slow, starting to get up in each other's faces before the pop-off rounds will come in later. And as the Twitch drones coming through, might be able to find some utility or information, but another 30 seconds passed and find themselves in copy now. Slowly starting to move on towards that hallway. But the hallway is that big bottleneck. That's where everything usually just falls apart. And yes, of course, they have Scyther on the shield. Has the opportunity to put up some pressure here. But of course, you gotta be careful. And with those Goyos popping off, I mean, that's another 30 seconds wasted right now.
They do have the Twitch to do this goes nice and early-ish. Not as early as they would perhaps like it, but it's dealt with nonetheless. They did lose the sense from the get-go, so there's no way to cut off those sight lines. They do have the smokes and the firebolt in the pocket of that Capto right now, and that can give them a little bit of a pushback. They can aim those towards doorways. They can cut off sight lines using that util, but it really puts a lot of pressure on his head. Oof. Speaking of heads, heads will roll! Eli, Tridley, 1 apiece, 2 versus 4 now.
Uh-oh.
Getting very scrappy, trapped in the corner, no way to run. Tridley is going to go down. Teamwork makes for dream work. Sometimes you just have to push upon them as a lovely little duo like that. This is going to be very, very precarious, very difficult now for Diavoli to try and scrap back. Ooh, beautiful shot though. Devils will get one. Turco's there with the trade. 1 versus 2. Skyfer does of course have that black beard, does have that safety net, does have that shield. Doesn't have to worry too much. Can try and stick this plant. Wait for them to push up on him. Looks like they're going for a pinch as well, which is very nice work, especially in these final moments. You have the advantage and you're going for it. There we go. Didn't want to faff about too much. They wanted that final kill. Immediately dealt with. Quick, quick, quick. That's lovely stuff for Myth to get things started. 1 round on the board. Conveying that opening pick as well.
Yeah, late trade coming through. Pretty sure you cannot even call it a trade anymore at that point. There's a Scyther on his own there. Tried his best to stay into the fight. If keeping on strong. And that first round, I mean, it's just the first round. Nothing's really been lost yet. 11 more rounds potentially to play, and could even go more than that if we are headed towards overtime. As we head to garage now. And what you do want to see is just, I mean, they were, you know, they were in office. Yes, they were getting some control. However, were being stalled quite a bit. And then when they finally got through that choke point, instantly lost like 2-3 lives, and suddenly you find yourself on such a big, like, disadvantage. It's just hard to come back from that.
And again, I think this is the moment where when you could die volley in these moments, it's like, okay, GG, we go next, you know. Let's just try and work out, one, how we're going to combat things and shot call a bit more quickly and efficiently when we don't have, you know, the main piece of util we needed for that push, really. Are we going to be able to get into the right position to use for util that we otherwise have? That's what I want to kind of see more from these teams at the moment, because that is the kind of meta shift that's happening slowly but surely over the last 2 months. However, again, this is best of ones, this is the 3C, so we might just see a lot of default shenanigans. We might just see a lot of people just trying to contest things. Already from Myth, we've seen some gorgeous little pinches. Even in those moments where they have the advantage, they're still playing it for the shutdown, which I really appreciate and respect.
It's almost like it's the Three Musketeers, those 3Cs.
Hey, hang on a second. You haven't given me my grade for my Benelux pop quiz.
Oh, yeah, that's true. No, you've passed.
Do I get an A?
You don't work with A's in the Netherlands.
Oh. I have a 10.
You get a 10.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, a 10. Excellent. That's a 10. Love to see it. Spec.io coming out from Eli. That's going to gain a little bit. No, it's not. Goodness me. Because Devils. Toko's able to react. Deals with him. Maritaz will fall as well. Goodness me. Myth cleaning up, and it's not even off the back of anything Eli's had to do here with that Spec.io. Goodness gracious me. No trades to come through either. That's a little bit dangerous to side Volley. We did touch on how they would use their own utility to try and combat these difficult moments, these dangerous moments where their back's against the wall. They've got that Blackbeard, they've got that Tokabi. There we go.
Oh, they got a drone as well to know exactly where he is. He just doesn't hear that he's coming around. Dynamite just stuck around a little bit too long. He's trying to hold on to that diffuser from verticality. Thought he was safe, but in the meantime, someone already found himself up there. Let's hide that laser sight. I was about to say, that's the worst timing to go out. Blackbeard was about to swing around the corner. You gotta make sure you have your gun up. Decider comes in, sweeps him up, and brings it back to a 3-on-3. Some poor siege timing coming through there as he swings the corner, or maybe actually wanted to take the fight. Not quite sure. It's a Blackbeard. It's not like he's very sneaky when he's hovering around like that. With 40 seconds, still a floor to descend though for the attackers. And defenders to find as well.
Gorgeous. Very balanced as all things should be. Not too much util. And maybe of benefit. We do have nades. That can be used especially if you're contesting against mirror windows. Lob a little nade. Deal with people that may be lurking around various corners as you make your approach.
Small canisters.
Because you want Skype to be leading the charge, don't you, Hap?
You definitely want to. That's the shield in front, but the flashbang goes wrong. Gets the teammate. Scyther instantly down. Player up above as well as they drop through. The mirror windows are too strong, and the cleanup is there. Myth, they win round number 2 after a lot of the battle was fought upstairs, but the entire round was decided in that basement. Not enough time to actually deal with it. Smoke canisters and flashbangs, both making sure that success was not to be found. And a 2-0 on the scoreboard as we head towards the middle site of Exposition and Piano. And Myth finding themselves in some pretty good phase, and that is Denari coming out. I'm super excited for that.
Ooh, me too. Again, we saw some pretty decent Denari plays in terms of the setup recently, but we've not seen it happen where there's been this massive standout play just yet. At the T2 level, and I really want to see what Turco can cook here. I've seen a few, I won't say trolling, but there have been moments where people, especially when they were first able to use it, it wasn't really working as effectively as perhaps it could have. maps like Lair, for example, people were using them to hold on to those all-important staircases.
Setting them all
with
up in the same window.
You get a little cheeky gander at that from the observer. That would be lovely. But otherwise, of course, you do get shield as well, which is always beneficial, especially when you're holding onto these longer corridors on the top floor. There we go. Plonking it down in that hallway so you can play a little bit more aggressively as they try and go for top floor clearance, because yes, when you have this middle floor, you want to try and get that top floor under your belt so you can establish that vertical. They're not bringing out the buggy though, and that's very precarious for me, because I do think that bringing that ramp gives you that safety net. You don't have to worry about C4s and the like. Using Sledge, a little bit more flexible, yes, but it's a little bit squishier, isn't it, Hap?
I mean, if not the ram, then at least... Oh, Nitro. That's beautiful as well. Just well read, knew exactly where they were going to be from. I was going to say, if not the ram, then at least bring the buck. But as they already take their very first casualty, this might just have to result into a quick push. There, Volley, trying to see if they can quickly overwhelm that site, make sure that they can limit the horizontal or vertical angles that can be utilized by Myth. It's never a great start when a Nitro Cell just catches you off like that. There's nothing you could have done about it either, except for being in a different position. Of course, doesn't buy you your life back.
Right. Waiting very patiently right now, getting stuck in. Potentially establish a little bit of pressure into Expo. There we go. Getting that plant down as well. Potentially free real estate. No one's noticed. No C4 coming out from Makari right now. Isn't in the right position to do so. They're just going to leg it out there. They're holding from this external. Could be dangerous if someone sneaks up and long arm it, but you've got to make sure everyone's in the right position.
Time is ticking by. Trades are coming through. Myth still has themselves a man advantage here, which they can utilize. The big worry, though, is those players outside of Saito retakes that top floor control. That is going to be absolutely crucial. Dokubi as well in the cupboard is going to be giving away the game of where they are, and this plant is going to be running out at least. If this long arm is not coming through, the body block is there, but on the final second gets shut down, and that means that Myth is losing this round, and their Volley will be able to sneak it away. They lost the entry, but were able to stick in the plant, and that's what I said. Just go quick, maybe see if you can stop those vertical angles from being utilized, get that plant in, and work it from there. It's exactly what they did. Success found as well. And the next set of bands to come through.
We always find on that middle floor though, like there's often people will leave gaps. People will leave those gaps where people can just jump in a window, get in, get the plant down. Yes, you can be holding above still. Yes, you can have the verticality established. You know, you've ripped open those floorboards, but you actually have to hold the angles. You have to make sure you've got the information on site. It happens so much at the T2 level, it's actually insane. A great work for the Volley from being able to exploit that gap and getting away with daylight robbery, to be honest.
A little bit of daylight robbery indeed, as they find themselves their first round on the board. Again, like that entry, beautiful. Nitro Cell to come through, nothing they could have done about it. Find themselves with that free early kill for relatively no risk. As the black eyes are being hidden. The Nari not being impactful either. It's completely bypassed where those lasers were set up.
Yeah, that's the thing. Again, like we haven't seen at T2 level a really effective play. Using Denari, it's kind of set up in one area, and either it unfortunately in some cases it hasn't been set up properly, or it's just completely disregarded by the attack, and we don't get to see any funsies. Hopefully, at some point during South Reef, we will get to see a lovely little Denari play. What was that new operator? I'm wondering how everyone's feeling about it. Reminds me a lot of a dream I had once.
Okay, I'm afraid to ask at this point. What kind of dream you have that you're running around like Mission Impossible style lasers?
Dude, that's it. It's like proper Mission Impossible style lasers. Like that. Okay. That's the vibe. That's the vibe. Yeah.
Oh, just so I know. Grenades popping off on both sides. Saito taking a little bit of damage with Dynamite. A little bit more. Saito, of course, playing around on that shield, finding 3 kills so far already. But the challenge is definitely on, and that Nitro Cell is a little bit short. Dynamite able to retreat back. The smoke canister covering that retreat as well, so he cannot be chased by any of the members from DYA. He's instantly trying to retake, sees the hole in the ground, instantly wanting to go back towards it, seeing if he can challenge a player down below. And with a minute 30 already passed off that timer, the amount of time still stands to get the job done. But the stall now starts.
Yeah.
Which is going to be the issue.
It is indeed. They do have util, but again, you've got Eli around the server stairs position, who could potentially go for a little bit of a flankaroonie as well, and catch everyone off guard. I think that's good. Has a little bit of a cam there just to cover his back a little bit as well. But this is the issue. If you faff about too much, if you waste your time, the Sens is going out now. That's going to establish a little bit of a wall to cut off some sight. It gives you a bit of a safety net. Eli can try and go massive. That C4 will give the game away, though, potentially, as to where he will be. So, well, eyes and ears may yeet in his direction, to be honest.
That is painful. Saito able to sneak up, get Akari before he gets shut down himself, and a 3-on-3 commences. 40 seconds left. Spray still top of spiral stairs before moving to front desk, doing a little bit of damage towards the mute. No more nitro cells left in pocket. Turco still has 2 impacts that he might be able to utilize to take down one of these members. But as the trades continue, and the 2-on-2 is on, Merritt finds himself in a pretty good position to actually go for a plant here as he destroys the plant pot. He needs to have the cover on for the sense. Might reactivate one of the light sensors here as a Trilby will go down and the plant is on. 45 seconds, but both members on such low HP. He needs to chase, finds one out of ammo, needs to swap to the shotgun, but now knows, okay, he's far off. I have an opportunity here. Goes for the defuse, tries to stick it as well as he goes up for the very final second. Has the impact. He's gonna try and throw that. Maybe no. He's still playing around for 24 seconds. There's no other kind of utility in the pockets of Marantz to open his up from below, and he's just going for the stick. No, he's not, and he's in time. The super short, he gets it, goes for the confirm as well, but still twice as much as time compared to what's necessary to get this defuse on the way. And Myth, they find round number 3 in the pocket.
Securing the kill is the most Turco thing I've seen in a while. I love it. I love to see it. What a clutch. Great work there from Turco. Again, was really, really excited to see him come into this Myth roster. And there we go. Just clutched around. Secured that post plant. Pulled it back into the favor of Myth. Very well played indeed. And again, it's a bit dodgy on both sides still in terms of these approaches. Again, Myth are doing a really good job of kind of trying to space themselves out and play around the kind of default pushes that DYA are unfortunately falling into. Against this idea, if you're going default, things might get a little bit one-dimensional. You do have to be careful. Maybe what I want to see from DYA is a little bit more of a second angle established when they're approaching things.
Yeah, it's pretty one-dimensional so far, but also has to deal, of course, with the fact that their utility is just necessary at those places. They were going in from the office. They were trying to breach themselves through that hallway with the soda machines. That is, of course, that big bottleneck on that side of the map. Now we're going towards the actual ground floor, basement, I have to say. This allows for a lot more angles to come through. This just won't go well if everybody's focusing on the breach unless it's quick. So what you want to see now is someone attacking from the server, someone opening up the breach, someone else is working from the top to use that verticality.
Reloading.
They don't have the operators for that though. I mean, they have Sledge, but a Ram or a Buck would have been way better suited for this.
This is it. Like, I said this last round too. It's like, the Ram is free. Like, the Ram is so free. Yes, you get flexibility of the Sledge because you can make, you know, you can easily just be like, okay, I'm opening this wall now, I'm rotating through it. You can kind of do the same with the Ram though as well. And again, you just get that safety net, which I think DYA really need. Look, they're getting caught off guard already. They're getting really, really caught off guard sometimes because of how hungry Myth are right now for those entries in particular. You've got to be careful. You've got to be careful of how squishy and you know, what kind of sightlines you're falling into here. Especially when you're bringing that Sledge. Looks like they're not going to fast about too much with the Verti. They are just using that to create nice little rotations for themselves as they push from that server side. So, okay, I'll allow it, but for now, maybe it is just a comfort pick.
First minute passed, just working on clearing out those laser gates and clearing out those cameras just to allow themselves to go through. Once again, though, very one-dimensional so far. And the first victim is there. Ally will find Marats. That's going to be the hard breach gone as well. It's going to be giving them a lot more problems, actually, dealing with the mirror windows. As Stridley will find Frey as well. It's just not looking good for DYA here as they are slowly being picked apart. And you look at this like, where is everybody? Well, they're again all on the same angle, waiting to go through. They're using grenades to relocate Akari from that mirror window. But as soon as it pops, they can just go right back at it. And no incendiary bolts anymore either. Smoke canisters are being used to slow things down even further. The flank comes in from Dynamite, who picks up 2 before he gets finally shut down, and Turco just finishes the job. Myth with a beautiful round here, but more so DYA lacking any form of multi-directional attack, being completely picked apart by Myth.
That's it, 100%. They're being 1D. It's allowing Myth to basically just play shooting range. Look at this. I mean, disgusting. Dynamite, disgusting. Yes, he was traded, but at that point, the damage is already done. Turco just has to pop up, get that final pick, job's done. Myth playing really well. Again, yes, DYA, there's a lot of mistakes being made here, and there's a lot of kind of ideas here where it's like, oh, things are looking a little bit janky for, you know, the standard that we're used to at this point in these circuits that people are bringing, these kind of default runs that they're doing. Again, there seems to be a preference for comfort picks at times for the idea that DYA are really focusing on giving themselves movement more than what's ultimately going to be the most effective at giving them a lot of options, right? So it means that they're going into these rounds a little bit more static, which is something that I think I want them to change maybe before the next play day. I want them to kind of go a bit more relying on those shot calls in the mid round, right? Relying on things where it's like, hey, things are going to plan. 2 of us need to rotate here and go for an alternative angle. We've got the kit to do it. What have we got in pockets? What can we do here? Little things like that, right? Where you're like, okay, you're giving yourself more options. You're giving yourselves more bang for your buck, as we like to say. At the same time, Myth are just playing really well. Like, they are. Like, this is a really good start for them. Turco in particular, again, Turco has been phenomenal. Turco has been really, really good. You've got a little bit of spice there, added with the spice that Dynamite tends to bring at times as well, too. So it's a really lovely wombo combo that we're starting to see come through from Myth. They've certainly ironed out the issues that they were having, and if today's anything to go by, this spells some really nice stuff on the horizon. Want to see, of course, how their attacks go. For now, they're hungry for it. Look at this already. Tridley, he's lurking around. He's dodging, diving, weaving, trying to find those entries, desperate for the entry. It really shows that they're willing to just contest them from the get-go, right? They want to get that opener and pull back to safety. They want to deny that trade and make sure that they're starting on that safety point of having more players.
Reach for the night for now. You Gemmer stopping that. And as you mentioned, Myth indeed playing very well. Yeah, like look at this. Looks just a little bit one-dimensional here from the side of DYA. 3 people on the same window waiting to go through. We have 1 person down below on the sledge. I have bad news. You cannot actually open up the floor from below there. What a buck, you might have been able to do that. By the way, time is continuing, and a minute 20 has already passed. That means a plan at some point will have to go through, and I have perfect view on the 1 breach that's been made. Turco will find Devils, as a drone gave away Dynamite's position. He's been shut down as a result. Frey was able to find him. The Blitz is starting to push through to try to get the plan down, and that is actually a beautiful play coming through from DYA. Finding themselves on the 2-on-4 right now, pushing for the last player on the side, but they lose their shield, and that is a crucial mistake to go through. Maybe they should have just chosen to go for the plant instead and let Ally play where he is, because now he's finding himself in a strong position. All alone, trying to clutch this out in a 1v3. Players slowly starting to circle around him. Eventually gets shut down by the SMG-33 for a second round as we do go for the side swap.
There you have it, 4-2. Not too bad for either side. I do think the DYA could have got more rounds on the board if they would have just been less kind of tunnel vision about things, but I digress. And again, Myth have played this really wonderfully. I'm so curious to see how their playstyle at the moment is actually going to translate to this defense, because I do attack. I do feel like Turco tends to be pretty gung-ho on the entry. So if they're going to have Turco playing on the entry, that's going to be an interesting thing to see. I can't imagine that they won't put Turco on entry right now.
So would you say that Myth has to swap their defense bands to their offense bands, Grace? So sorry.
Yeah, that's kind of gone over my head a little bit, I think.
Talking about, playpens, uniforms, defense bands, offense bands.
Oh my god, don't start there. Don't tell everyone about the playpants, okay? Don't tell everyone about the playpants. I'm not having you embarrassed.
It's too late now, it's already done.
No, not the playpants. Oh no. Cultural differences, that's all I'm
Chav is going to come in absolutely not knowing what this is about.
I know, I'm just like, for goodness sake. Myth are banning out the clash and the smoke. Again, it's those operators designed at kind of slowing things down a little bit. Granted, this plays pretty much to a T as to how I expected them to work through their attacks. I think they are going to get stuck in very, very quickly, very efficiently. What are you saying? Tridley go onto the Nook as well, which is massive because, yes, they might do a little bit of an offish push, but I'm imagining if that Nook does stay, it means that Tridley's going to push from below. We already see that there's that cannon visa that they're looking at as well. So already from the get-go, Myth are going for multiple angles to their approach into this site. So really good job from the get-go. Let's see if DYA can actually shut it down. Have they got an extension? We do have Devils around surface stairs. Will he stay there though? Yet to be determined. No, he will not.
There's so much utility for this Twitch. Just look at it, like the Grismot mines, the Black Eyes, the Goyo canisters, Mute Gemmers. So much for the Twitch here to just do in terms of like site preparation, allowing the team to move through. And as they've opened up the visa doorway, so Tridley instantly going in sneakily though, so they aren't fully aware of the fact that someone's taken the ground. And now the office push is starting to be prepared. Windows opened up, breach made onto the default as well. Tridley still just slowly starting to sneak up, but the main worry here is that utility of the Ela. That can just be such a game breaker once that pops up.
No, 100%. We've seen such an uptick in Zofia and Ela. Never mind, we've jinxed it. Devils will go down. Tridley. A little bit of a backstab there, but that's why it's effective, right? You send that Nook up. Again, there's that first point of call you have to deal with 9 times out of 10. Someone's at vending or someone's in that corridor. Beautiful work. Turco's going to go down. No thermite on the board. I think that's going to be too worrisome for the side of Myth.
Breach is already there. Like, he opened it up. That's when they ran out with the shotgun to get the kill confirmed. So, like, it sounds rough, but the job was already done. Like, he's already done what he had to do at that point. So losing him is not going to be bad for utility, but only for the gun that is no longer fighting alongside you. As we find ourselves in that 4v4. Minute 15, and this allows the catering area to now be utilized as well by Merritt, considering the fact that the player that was on that breach has been killed by him before. Twitch drone's doing quite some work as Tridley will find a kill before he gets traded out. That means catering is now going to be clear. One less angle to worry about as the minute mark hits the spot. Grenades still being tossed through. The bees will soon follow as well to keep people at bay. And Myth, they are just slowly trying to eke themselves into the site so they can get the plant started. But the fire is still out there. The fire is still slowing them down, and I believe that catering has been retaken and can be used to be a little bit of a game changer once this plant gets attempted finally.
Yeah, Kari preparing on that Blackbeard shield on the back. I think he wants a little bit more cover from his teammates. I do agree with this decision as well. You want ideally someone on top of you just covering in case someone swings around that double or someone tries to push up on you. Tivoli, are they aware? C4 has gone out. It didn't matter. Anyway, it's a post-TP. There we are. They just have to hold these angles. And again, they've got that Blackbeard's that shield. Never mind. The C4 is there. Frey will fall. Skyfer will fall. Dino and Eli, one at a piece. A 1 versus 2 now. It's not going to happen. Eli secures it. Great stuff from Myth. Again, getting stuck in, going for the jugular. The stuff we expected, but it's nice to see it actually work.
That must have been so confusing though to Diavoli when they get that nitro cell out at that default plant and it blows up and a second later the plant still goes on. Like, how did that happen? Just nitro celled that. maybe the shield there, blocking some of that blast damage that came through, allowing the plant to be continued by Urkari. And afterwards, a beautiful setup already. Like, Myth were already in the right positions once that plant went down to play the perfect post plant. And that's what you like to see. Like, you're thinking ahead. You know that you have the opportunity to go for this plant. You know exactly where you want to be for this post plant. And they had those positions already in the lock and key.
Yeah. And again, it's the little things like Diavali on their attacks. You know, we talked about it. They were being very 1D. Myth already from the get-go showing that they're willing to put pressure in multiple places. They're willing to have that backstab. They're willing to have that little wild card under their belt. It creates a lot of breathing space, especially given how Consular plays out, right? You've got these nasty angles that can be held against you when you are attacking. Yes, the changes to the map over time have made it a lot more viable attacking the top floor because of those external walls, but remember the days where like there used to be like 9,000 ADSs just on yellow stairs and you had to like burn it out, but there's always be like a dock behind the ADSs and you'd just be there like, for goodness sake, like it's difficult and clunky to get through. It's kind of still falling into that vibe. Yes, you've got those externals you can open, but a lot of the time people are just applying soft pressure there. It's something you'll see a lot where, you know, the wall will be open, but no one's actually holding it. Yes, it's something the defense have to think about and consider, but 9 times out of 10, it's kind of feint pressure. It's faux pressure, you know?
The one thing I miss most about Consular is that that clip on the white stairs, where 9 flashbangs, candelas, smoke grenades, and grenades get tossed in just to kill that single player.
Spotted.
Absolute siege gold.
Yeah.
Pings are coming through, not quite sure what LI might have seen there, might have just heard something. Yes, those are footsteps. Oh, okay, he's waiting for the verticality to be opened up by one of his teammates so he could more effectively try and challenge. I'm not sure if he actually saw a player walking down there or not. Myth. First minute passed. Again, slowly starting to get through. They still need to descend down towards the first floor and then eventually the basement as well. But we have those roamers around. Devils playing around the front desk. Frey on the staircase as well, making a lot of noise. Might actually work as a bit of a bait as Turco has gone down to low HP, and this is exactly what they want because Tridley is waiting, is looking for Frey. However, someone else is waiting on the other side of that doorway, so as soon as he connects it, they have it. Exactly what I expected to happen. Urkari, though, will find at least 1 kill for his efforts. You see Frey's not sticking around, so at least the trade is there for Myth. But that was a good bait play coming down from Diavoli.
Really was. Again, though, really good work from Myth being able to keep on top of things. It's one of the most effective things you can do as a player. Get the trade, even if someone's fallen. At least you've caused collateral on the other side as well. But then you don't want to faff about too much, right? You know that they've gone back down. You know they've rotated safely back down. So you don't have to worry about them lurking in the shadows as much. You can just continue to focus towards sight. This is exactly what Dynamite's going to do. Opening up this floorboard more and more. He's trying to find the right angle. He knows that there most likely will be players down there somewhere. He just has to find them. Has to find those scalps. We've got Kari pushing from the back already in servers as well. Has those firebolts. That could be massive too. Just sending those firebolts, especially when you come against those mirror windows, depending on where they're positioned.
Spiral. Oh, yes, okay, I was going to say bottom spiral in a crucial position because Urkari is out here with that diffuser. If he goes down, the round might be lost. And Frey coming in right behind from server will actually shut him down. Suddenly it's only up to Eli, though. In a 1v2, has the diffuser, but not the site itself. Gets shut down. And Diavoli managed to win that basement side. A lot of time wasted, and afterwards a flank that came at the worst time possible for Myth, allowing him to put 1 more round on the board as we're finding ourselves in a 5-3 scoreline. Still pretty close.
Yeah. I think, again, though, Myth are doing a good job of it. It's just those final moments. I think they tried to rush things a little bit there. And that allowed Diavoli to just dodge and dance around and get those lovely little picks we saw. Certainly heating up between these two now. Myth can smell the match point, but Diavoli holding on to it, trying to get some of these rounds out. Again, it would be a bit uncomfortable to start the day with kind of a something 2 split, right? So something 2 scoreline, especially when, again, we look at the caliber that's on that Russian side. You look at players like Skyfer. That's the thing, right? Whenever you're building a roster, you always want to have the kind of old man of the group, so to speak, for lack of a better term. Again, no offense, Skyper, but it's every time they're building a roster, it's like, okay, get some old blood in, some old Siege blood with all that experience, and have it trickle down to these younger players. I do like to see the way that this Diavola roster is starting to look, to be honest.
Still a long way to go, though.
Yes.
Still 2 rounds behind for this best of 1. And again, just prefacing it, this is not where teams get eliminated. This is just seeding games coming through for these first stages of this tournament. The first weekend is seeding. After that, that's when the basically disappointments for teams and also joy will start for others, because that's when people will start to move through or get eliminated as we head into double elimination.
Tycho and Eli are really doing a great job in terms of picks, but again, I think the whole of Myth, they're not doing bad jobs themselves. I think everyone's doing some pretty nice heavy lifting. I don't think they're feeling too pressured on this attack either. It really is just going through the checklist, going through the motions. As we've established already, they're taking a lot of different options. They're opening up as many chances for opportunities as they can in terms of how they want to approach the site. It's something that is continuing. Even now, bringing out the IQ again, it allows you to see what kind of kit you're dealing with. Tridley, beautiful start, deals to Skyper. Those black eyes are still going to be out and about though, so Diavola will still be able to get hopefully a lot of information as to where Myth are lurking about, where Myth are approaching from. Ridley's been caught out. Devils dealing with him nice and swiftly. That's a sends off the board, Hap.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain. Of course, wanting to use that for the execute to divide the map into 2 parts. One in front of the light screen, one right behind it. It's going to be stopping them from utilizing some of these angles and, eliminating the mirror window from that extent as well. So now they might have to go for a little bit of a trip down below, or just have to deal with it. Like, it's there. That's it. Like, there's no way around it. That doesn't seem like the wisest choice. With a minute left, the bees are about to be shot out through the actual doorway, and it might give them away of the position of Maratz, who's playing quite close. Actually fallen back just in time. And the bees here once again used, and heads are being spotted, but the pre-fire is a little bit too late. 50 seconds and Turco going down from the yellow stairs. It's going to be quite painful. Grenade to be tossed in. They need to move in quickly right behind this. They're still there. The mirror window's still up as well. They at least know no one's close as Dynamite taking loads of damage. This is Myth just trying to do their things all alone, like single swings to come through, hoping that one of them finds an opening that they can utilize, but they're just taking and switching positions on the side of Diavoli as the nitro cells are starting to fly out and 20 seconds are left upon the clock. Erkari, finding himself dug in deep, has the opportunity to go for the plant. Eli, together with Dynamite, need to make sure that this plant is going to be covered. The nitro cell blows up, doesn't quite get the actual damage, and the trades are starting to come through. Actually, off the shield he goes, but with 6 seconds, Eli needs to give his life, but the down is there, and 2 players line up as the Avoli are able to find themselves yet another round on the board.
It's such a difficult plant to do if you don't have people in exactly the right cover for you. That's the issue, especially when there's that many people alive still, especially when there's that many C4s in play still. You've got the double door to worry about. You've got the push that's going to come from the other site coming in. You've got people potentially around the corner in that cubby where they're going to throw C4s over. It really is a chaotic plant to have to go for, despite it kind of low-key being the default plant, right, for that site. A lot of the time people will just try and tuck themselves up, but it does require pressure down that hallway, which is why teams on the attack tend to take a lot of utility to kind of shut off sight lines, so to speak, that they didn't quite have anything like that they could have used. It was an admirable attempt by Myth, but Diavoli played that perfectly, just really allowing themselves to play around those C4s initially, and then going aggressive, not only on their ones, but they were swinging together towards the end, and I think that's the important factor there too. They weren't even going to allow for a clutch to happen. You don't throw bodies into 1v1s in those moments, especially with some of those players on the side of Myth. You want to kind of swing together and make sure you're playing around that trade regardless of what happens.
Yeah, I feel like they wanted to use that sense to get past the mirror window. So, roll the ROU next to the mirror window, get yourself right behind it, deactivate the ROU, and then you can take out the player that was playing right behind it. However, Losing that, they didn't have any other utility that allowed them to deal with the mirror window. We saw them bounce a grenade on the back of it, which allowed them to, of course, confirm no one was actually out there. But they couldn't quite deal with it, and that left them to just being able to use the doorway for the default plant, see what they could do from there on. And, I mean, the nitro cells will just start coming and flying through. So, fortunately for Myth, that didn't work. Diavoli holding on quite nicely. As round number 10 has started. Opportunity to equalize the score here for Diavoli. As Tridley playing around with the shotgun Deimos. Actually finding himself quite close to an entry fight, and I don't think he even knows it because Devil is stuck between two drones. Now he's been swallowed. Okay, there we go. Never mind.
No one's contesting it just yet. We do Tridley coming up the other stairs from below. He's managed to hightail it out of there already. Devil should be in a safer place to contest that. Shotgun in hand, Tridley knows there's danger lurking around the corner. Isn't going to go push upping too quickly. A bit of a duo push as well. Turco dealing with Mats. Great start. That's the Melusi off the board. Those Banshees will still be out and about, of course. No trade coming out either. So Diavoli, again, nicely spaced out, but that is the risk factor when you're spaced out like that. You can't play as effectively around the trade.
Spot coming through there to stop the nitro cell from being tossed in. As right now the push is starting to come around from that top floor, but you look at that, there's an angle coming in from the actual bathroom itself. A player looking to drop the hatch as well. Stridley will find Scyther, so suddenly 2 on 3, or 3 on 5, sorry, in terms of number count. But trades and kills are coming up across the board, and the blitz is being chased as well by 2 players. Finally found as well. Diavoli somehow managed to turn this around as Eli not ready with any further support as he was trying to make sure that the site was secure. Turco on the rappel. He's outside the building, has the opportunity to enter anywhere he wants. We still have 2 defenders out on the top floor though. Both playing around the bathroom area. And that might mean that this becomes a 1-on-1 on site. Actually, it's now a 1-on-3 considering the fact that Devils takes down Ally. And this is definitely a round that Myth probably should have won, but suddenly just all falls apart as soon as the blitz gets chased and all the kills start falling the wrong way. And we equalize the scoreline here, a 5-5.
And there's an argument to be made. This is the thing, there's an argument to be made, right, where if you're Myth, it's like, okay, it's best of ones, maybe we just don't use a timeout because we're not deep seeing it as much, because blah, 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 blah. But I really think this is where we want to see a timeout. I think that's something they need to get better at taking is timeouts, especially given that Diavoli have now equalized when it literally felt like it was about to be free for you. Diavoli have fought back with fire and ferocity, to be honest. Really keeping on top of things here, being able to get the information they need and being a bit more reactive finally as well.
Well, let's see where this one goes then. After the first half looked like Myth was in complete control, and now things just crumbling. And not the good kind of crumbling, not the apple crumble kind.
This is like the 5th time we've mentioned food this evening.
I haven't had dinner yet, so you know that might be part of it.
Oh my god, it's like 7 PM. Goodness me.
I was asking for a pizza, but
Changing meg.
There we go.
hasn't been delivered yet.
Oh goodness me. Speaking of things that haven't been delivered, neither of these sides have got to that match point yet. It looked like Myth were going to take it. Diavoli have managed to catch up. Which side is going to hit that 6-rounder first? If really need to do something spectacular here, because things are starting to get a little bit jankier. They're going very default. Got a little bit of the old Maverick happening. It's going to open that wall pretty quickly. It's the beauty of having Maverick sometimes, right? Yes, they've got the Kaid. They can use those Electro Claws to try and, you know, Kaid's trick if they want to. They can place them down in obtuse corners and angles. But you've got the Blowtorch. It doesn't matter. You could just open up some little holes. Yes, you can try to even open up an entry point into Garage. Can be kind of dangerous, especially if people are playing with those C4s. But at least if you open up those holes, it creates, again, that element of phantom pressure. Now, Dynamite, dealing with Frey nice and early. It's going to go immediately onto those cams. Good lad. That is the important factor. The utility's still on the board. No trade has come out from DYA. They still have info to react to. And they still have a good, even positioning. We've got Devils and Aldi upstairs. Arats and Skyfer downstairs as well. It's going to give a lot of reaction, hopefully, for the side of DYA.
Dynamite very close to actually finding himself in a gunfight here with Devils. Free fire starting to come through from both sides. In the meantime, you see someone already coming down from the other side of the Visa area. They're not able to go for it. Just opening up the hatch, just making sure that they have server under control. But last time that was the case, we did see a rotate coming through that eventually struck them in the back. So they gotta make sure that that's not going to be the case again, as Turco does go down. 4-on-4, a minute 10. Suddenly, Yavoli again back into the round after a very early entry coming in from Myth, and then finding, good success on making ground down in that basement. Tridley, of course, opening up the phantom pressure, as you said before, is going to be making sure like Garage is not going to be fully playable. However, as soon as they find out he has rotated around, they might just decide to go for a different kind of move. They wanted to get rid of the Electroclaw so they can open up the actual site, but I believe they cannot actually quite get the angle on it. 35 seconds, they're Kari aware of one player. There's still 3 more unaccounted for, which is the problem here for Myth. Because a rotation is called, that is going to be costing them some time. They're going to hot it into that kitchen, needing to go for the plant almost instantly, leaving almost no room for error. Kills coming through. 10 seconds left on the clock. And as Dynamite is left alone against 3 players from the Avoli, it looks like they will reach 6 first. And again, it just falls apart once they reach the actual site. The players are too concentrated there from the Diavoli side. And now they are looking against a map and match point.
It's worrisome, actually, because again, this was such a great start for Myth. And even in that round there, we had this idea of, okay, they've cleared a little bit of space. Things were a little bit dicey. Then we saw that pick come out from Dynamite, right? And it's like, okay, great. Monty comes forward. Everyone just had to get in and try and find a nice safe spot to get that plant down, ideally. It just wasn't going to happen. Divoli able to hold on to it from those safe positions. Pretty much daylight robbery, I'd argue. Them getting that match point is going to put them in a really good spot here, because they've been playing these defenses really, really nicely. Myth are not calling a timeout yet again. Again, maybe that is just for confidence of, oh, well, it's only the best of ones, but I want to see them really dig deep into everything they have. I was so, not so much disappointed, but like, I felt like it was very lackluster during Rumble for what we kind of expected. They've had this roster change. We're now playing with Turco today. There should be a load of gold coming through, and there's now these sloppy little mistakes coming through that are really costing them. And it's about having the diligence and the resilience in these moments, right? To be like, okay, whoever's doing the main shot calls in this roster, whoever's yelling needs to be like, okay, timeout time, or okay, let's take a pause here, let's take a breather. This is what we're gonna do. Options, really, on the side of Myth. And again, options is something they'll bring to the table. They're attacking CEO. They're going to have, yes, pushes coming from that office side. They should have pressure coming elsewhere, though. Again, they've got the Flores drones in the hand of Turco. Those drones are going to do a really good job at removing some of this util nice and early, ideally, especially looking at those Vulcans. We all know how annoying those Vulcans can be when you're approaching that CEO, especially around those hallways. So let's see what they do have.
Now, they do not have the Twitch to get rid of those Vulcans, so those Vulcans are going to be even more present than they might have been before. Do see the Ash coming out from Eli instead of the Twitch, though, and that might be a direct response to the mirror windows they weren't able to deal with before, which, coincidentally, aren't actually there this time around. So it feels like that volley has the upper hand, and once again, the entry frag will go to Myth, but it has been for the last 3 or 4 rounds. Yet they weren't actually able to capitalize on any of them. So what's going to be different now? That is going to be that big question. Once again, you see a little bit of peaks coming out towards that hallway to try and stop you from actually pushing in towards that default plant spot. and they're aware of one of those players on the front desk rotating out to go for a white swing. The Blackbeard not in the right position to actually deal with it at that moment in time.
No, more sightlines being cut off by Tridley here. Is anyone going to be reactive? So they're trying to force their way in. They could stack up on themselves a little bit here. Pressure is coming in. A swing around the corner is potentially about to come through. Though Skyfer falls. Sakari will be taken out. Dynamite dealing with frame. Rats will fall as well. This is looking very good for Myth. Surely that's the overtime. Surely Alda cannot do anything here. Plant is going down. Do they know where he is? Eli just around the corner. There we go. Deals with him. Sign seal delivered straight into overtime. That's the stuff we like to see. And again, Myth kind of redeeming themselves there. That would have been a little bit embarrassing if they would have just come this far in this map and then suddenly this all goes to DYA. The reverse sweep, as we like to call it.
Keeping themselves in the game. Prolonging this best of one just a little bit further. And now it's a best of 3 in rounds, not in maps. Don't worry, we're not suddenly heading to 2 other maps. And it is Myth on the attack. And I mean, it is fair to say that the defense has definitely been the favored side on this matchup so far. So DYA will probably be quite relieved with the fact that, I mean, of course they'll be first of all a bit bummed at the fact that we are in overtime, but then again, we are a defense. So it is not the end of the world for them. And Myth, they're going to have to win an attacking round. Either now or in round 15, they manage to win their own defense. And I understand why we're going basement. Because Myth has been leaving gaps in their attack here. They've been prone to flanks. They've been prone to just time waste in general. Even though they directly start attacking the ground floor, the basement. They're not putting any pressure up on the top floor. They're putting up a little bit of pressure towards Visa, but that's only because they want those hatches open up. They can make actually a case for that might hurt them more than it actually helps them because of the fact that they're already all down there anyway. Opening up those hatches gives the defenders a way back in.
I think if we're gonna see Aldo like kind of stay on that top, on that middle floor rather, the Malusi. Obviously still establishing Bertie with that secondary shotty as well. Truly getting tagged a little bit there as that wall has been opened. And again, that's that pressure directly into sight already from the get-go. Within the first 30 seconds it's been established, but Devils is there to take out the Kari. That's a blitz off the board, and that could be a massive, massive play. A follow-up down to Eli as well. Not only getting rid of the blitz, getting rid of the buggies as well. Marat's dealing with Tridley. This is not looking good for Myth at all. DYA cleaning up shop hap.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they were pushing in to try and take Piano under control. However, you know, soft walls are still out there. The wall banks coming through. Suddenly finding yourself in a 3-on-5 in a very one-dimensional push. Not having verticality. Not having any horizontally either. And it just ends it. A flawless round. I think that's the very first that we've seen in either of the series today. And that is definitely a message sent right now to Myth that they are here to lock this off. In a 6-8 fashion. As Myth need to give it their all once again to push it towards 7-7 and then maybe have the opportunity to go for a win here.
Goodness me, who knows how this is going to go. Again, it's just a really big frustration point right now. Seeing Myth kind of play so well initially and then it kind of just rapidly spirals out of control. Granted, Devils did a phenomenal job there. Really was just down to him kind of initially just dealing such heavy collateral. Yes, you've dealt with 2 players, but there are 2 players that really were impactful pieces to Myth's approach, right? It's the buggies, it's the blitz shield. It's these key factors that Myth needed to actually establish more control towards sight, more of a safety net at times as well when we consider the blitz. Obviously having that shield detail, you can kind of do a bit of a solo push around those kind of precarious doorways that you have to go against. Now DYA, a big factor for their own attacks was the fact that they were being a little bit 1D about stuff, right? They were really tunnel visioning They had one side they decided to push from. They weren't really mixing it up or going for any alternative moments of pressure. If things were falling apart, they were still trying to consistently, go for the initial push they'd picked from the start of the round. And I think that's where now I want to see if things fall apart from them initially. Does a shot call come through? Do we see rotations happen? Let's see.
Big question. As on we go. And now pressure will start to rise. Again, yes. No eliminations yet, but you still want to win this game. And there comes the first flashbang. 2 players line up. Not quite able to get the first, although on the second attempt he does. Instant trade to come through as the shotgun comes back around the corner as well. But so does Tridley. Instantly back safe. Red's not able to avenge Frey. He's been shut down before, and now once again back where they started. Devil shut down by Dynamite, and Myth in a position where they can push this towards round number 15 to go all the way and lock it off. But there comes the Glass, finding themselves with another kill. Back to a 3-on-3. Insert himself into the building as well, but a smoke canister is pushing him back out. Wasn't aware of it due to the fact his own smoke was still down there. And Marat's basically finding himself in a 1v1. He gets the first knife, gets the second to go for the pushover, and Tridley will go down. And Diavoli, they find themselves in a man advantage. Another smoke canister used. There's no left in pocket now for Akari. In a 2-on-3. At a minute 20 left, it's plenty of time to start working around and start playing around with the utility you have, but you need to work together. You have the man advantage. And as Maritz comes in, he will find one for the clean up. The bash misses, and he goes down to 1 HP. However, the turn is there. And the Sturko will find one. He gets shut down instantly afterwards, and Diavoli will find themselves with the map win in overtime. Myth, they started off strong, but they couldn't quite close it out. In overtime, it wasn't enough. As Diavoli takes that victory.
Aldo as well with the massive flank there, coming up the yellow stairs as for Glass, making sure that he was there for that final pick.